The Energia.
This is definitely the hot property for
I actually wrote this on my Facebook earlier. This is the must-own. Right, that other stuff is cool, and you need that too. But if it literally comes down to, I'm just getting the one Russian, get
this one.
This.
Several things. This is the last. We bought the last of these in the world, okay, for Shop NBC, for this show. You cannot get this again once these are gone. Number two is that this is a phenomenal deal on this particular one. We talked earlier about the custom. The Energia is one of those that just screams what you get from the custom work that they do. You've got a custom dial. You've got the slide rule bezel, which you can truly do addition, subtraction.
And as in fully operable
slide rule bezel. They call it a flight timer. The Energia was the booster rocket system that put their space shuttle, the Buran, into orbit. And that's what it's named after, the Energia rocket. And the rocket is actually on the case back of the watch. And I brought, if we want to show it at some point, I brought so you can actually see into the case, because what they did, the 2441 is a movement that they made specifically for this watch, and they altered the style of, they took the basic Vostok movement they had been using, and they made two big changes. One, they added a much longer crown stem to allow to get that asymmetrical look that you see, and then they changed it so that they allowed the drivetrain of the second hand and the hour and minute hand to be separated. See, if you look at the rocket itself, it's an asymmetrical rocket. It doesn't have symmetry. And again, getting back to the whole thing that they start with the concept, they start with the idea, and then they build the watch around the concept. They said, we want an asymmetrical watch. And that's why you see this kind of semi-offset subdial. It's not a true subdial. It's built just for this. Again, everything, this bracelet, 100% custom, designed only for this watch. Just the weight alone on this watch, you know you're wearing it. You will never see this watch again in this style, and you will never see it at this price. It is an amazing deal. People should not pass this one up tonight, I'm telling you.
Now, as you mentioned, you went and opened one of these up.
I opened one up. I want to show if we can. I'm not as familiar with your...
So, obviously, one of the keys here as we get into this is that this is asymmetrical. They've offset the mechanical automatic.
They offset it, and again, to get back, it's all because to go back to the theme of the Energia. And there you go. And you can see how they set the... They offset the whole movement. And they did the extra long crown stem so that they could get that asymmetrical look. And then within the movement, they reset the drivetrains so that they could have because usually to get that second dial to get a sub dial, you're either stripping down a chronograph movement or it's a movement that's built to have the sub dial. So they altered the basic Vostok 32 jewel movement to be the 2441 specifically for this watch.
Well, let's talk about the back of this watch.
And that's the only watch in the world with this movement in it.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, the Energia and the Energia 2 are the only watches in the world with this movement in it this way.
So beyond then, and I just learned that, having a world-class exclusivity involved here, I want to move a little bit from a second, away from the engine. Let's talk about the back of this, because
it's beautiful.
From the moment I first saw this in person, and I still remember being aware of this in prototype, and I'm thinking, this is going to be amazing. And, of course, at that time, it's in print, it's in theory. To see it actually done in its finished version is just extraordinary. As you guys probably figured out by now, you're ordering by color, so it's either in the green or in the red.
And they are rich, deep colors.
And burgundy, excuse me, screen or burgundy, which is a burgundy red as opposed to a burgundy purple. Now, there's it across the back. Again, obviously, a lot of engraving, machining going on.
Well, you actually, and if you tilt it up a little, you'll see the actual, it's kind of hard to get to, isn't it?
I'm trying to keep the...
There you go. You can see the actual rocket itself is engraved in the back. These are only $9.99 made, and when you're with Vostok-Europe, that's what it means. I mean, if there's one of the things, anybody who's followed the Russian watches and followed me for very long, they know that when we say it's over, it's over. They move on. I mean, Igor and his team, they are always looking forward. They are always, what's the next thing we're going to design? What's the next thing we're going to bring out? They don't reproduce things.
I'm glad you brought that up because that's something I've certainly learned even watching them when they're at exhibiting at the Basel Watch Fair. Whereas I think it's fair to say almost every other company, if they do come across a mega hit, which this obviously is for them.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to go, well, now here's one.
They're going to bang it into the ground.
Yeah, there's a pink one and whatever.
Right.
And these guys, I guess it's the Russian thing, but they just don't think like that.
No, it's like, what's next?
That is already made.
We made this.
Now.
Let's move on to something new. Like, they're coming out with the Anchar. They're coming out with the new Caspian Sea Monster. So if you guys want to get this, if you want to get the Energia 2, and if you have any interest in it in these colors, this is your last shot. I mean, we bought the last of their quantity, and it wasn't huge. I mean, it was a little bit more. I mean, one of the things that, I've gotten some complaints from the guys on the forums and so forth is, Craig, you come on and the stuff's sold out in 2 minutes. Mm-hmm. So we did go a little deeper on quantity this time, but we're not talking huge.
Still gonna go.
We're not talking, Invicta numbers here. These are small. This is gonna go.
But I think that's part of the appeal of getting into the genuine Russian-made things is that these guys build, and again, we've both been there. I mean, having watched these guys work, I can attest to that these are hand finished, these are hand assembled, and they don't just turn on the Russia machine. I mean,
here's the thing, Tim. Vostok-Europe, they can't build more than 50 watches a day.
I didn't realize it was that.
They build 50 or fewer pieces a day. So you think about that's for the world, and that's another thing too. Is that we didn't just bring these in. Vostok-Europe is distributed in 33 countries around the world, and you figure that they're building no more than 50 pieces a day for 33 worldwide distributors. That's part of why we get such small quantities, and that's why when they go, they're gone.
But it further amplifies the exclusivity. By the way, between the two colors, the red and the burgundy definitely at this point being predicted by management.
I love the green, but I'm not surprised.
They're both gorgeous, but I looked at them before the show. Burgundy is probably going to be the
And remember, that is a true full-functioning slide rule bezel on there. You can add, subtract, multiply, and divide, and it does come with directions to specifically how to do that, both in English and in Russian.
Very good.
Of course.
Yes.
It has to come
Mother
in
Russia.
both. And let's talk about the bracelet a little bit.
Yes.
Because to me, this bracelet, I describe this bracelet as like somebody reached into a piece of machinery and they pulled that, and that's what they came out with in their hand is this bracelet. I mean, it looks like a chain. It is, this is a formidable part of the watch. And it is integrated, and again, I can't stress enough, I'm probably overusing the word, but 100% custom. I mean, I think when you're talking about, and again, I know, I don't like to really talk about price much. I don't think you're buying our watches for price. I don't think you're buying our watches because you're trying to just get another watch with interesting features. You're buying our watches because of the story, because it's something you can't get anywhere else, because they are the true Russian watches made by true Russian watchmakers. That said, to get something with this level of customization, where everything is built to spec from the ground up at these prices is unheard of. It's just because a lot of watchmakers, and I'm not denigrating it, but a lot of watchmakers, they buy the off-the-shelf components. They may put it together in a different way. They may make it interesting in a way that others haven't, but to go 100% custom like this bracelet is, and I'm going to shut up now and let you talk about the bracelet.
Actually, I'm glad you're getting into it because I do think that's part of, or let me rephrase it, it should be part of the appeal. I think the reason that it is not more so is that people aren't aware of it. I do think it's part of the appeal for the guys that have, even for longer than I have been collecting the watches. They understand that everything on this is custom. I mean, how many watches realistically can you say that about?
Right.
Much less in this price range.
Yeah.
And then moving on beyond the fact that this is completely and utterly original in its concept, in its design, in its production, and then you add to that the fact that you've got the full custom metallurgy that goes on and the physical machining.
And this is all surgical grade. Every bit of that metal is all surgical grade on there.
Which, by the way, is not true of all watches. And it is with this, at this kind of money. And then you add to the fact that this is actually hand-done in the former Soviet Union. This is a remarkable product. What you're seeing here, guys, at a beautiful low price, and I believe I'm correct in saying a record low price, is the last of available in the world. Every other one of these, it's in private collection.
This pushes $500 anywhere else.
Yeah, that's a fair way to say it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's almost. It's true. Look it up. You guys already have.
Look it up.
It's 500. Well, it's like in the upper fours.
In the upper fours, anywhere else.
And we're at 328 for the last available in the world. Now, to put this into a bit of perspective, already I've got barely 2 dozen left if you want the burgundy. I have it, but it's going to go. There are 2 different examples here. One is the green. The green I would call a very dark, I would almost a forest green black.